Alrighty, welcome back to Musical Connections from the Amera Innovation Exchange here in St. John's, Newfoundland at MUN's Signal Hill campus. This is Next to Connect. I'm Zach Snow, and I have been dubbing this year to many of the people that I've talked to off the air here, the year of the hurricane. And it has to do with my next guest. He is the co-founder of hurricanemusic with his former bandmate of RocketRocketShip and industry professional extraordinaire Dave Shears. Joining me now is engineer, producer, and just overall handsome man, my man, mattdines. Matt, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Zach. Thanks for having me on, man. This is such a great initiative. It's great to have some, some conversations like this during musicnl week and catch up,
Right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been a great week, and it's only really just getting started. And by the time this does air, it'll be a full year since I've launched this podcast. And I remember last year I was out in Corner Brook preparing to record episodes to officially, have this up there. And now a year later, we're 50, almost 60 episodes in.
It's incredible. Congratulations. That's a lot of work.
Thank you so much, buddy. Yep. And a lot of work for you, too. I mean, I dubbed this year the year of the hurricane because no matter where I went, no matter who I spoke to, I've heard your name, David's name, and any of your artists' names all over the city. And it's for good reason. I mean, you guys work your asses off.
Yeah, well, it's exciting. When you take a risk on something like starting a management firm and producing music, it's just great to see the support in the community. And of course, we wouldn't be anywhere without the people that work with us. So, we're really thankful to have great musicians at the core on our roster and just great people who are active, who are obviously a lot of them at different stages in their careers, but all of them are passionate and committed to music. So that's what makes it really easy for us, to get going is the people that we have around us, the musicians who are coming to my studio and the people who are playing the shows and going out. It's just awesome. It's a blessing for us to work with all of them, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this year again has been a very big year for you. So how are things currently in your world right now by the time that this does drop?
Right. So in November, in just a little while, we're going to be in the studio a little bit more with Baraka, for example, working on a new album. His last album was really well received, and it only came out in June, hey? So you got to start on the next one now. We can't sit back. And the man's got a lot of songs, hey? So, that'll be a main priority for November for me.
Yeah. If you want a busy guy, Baraka does not stop.
Yeah. He's almost got as many shows under his belt as Musical Connections this year.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you saw that on his story. I think he's played 57. And then, as we get through musicnl week and into November, that number will go well up and above.
I got some catching up to do when it comes to Musical Connections. I may have to put out 2 or 3 a week yet.
There you go, hey? Yeah, so, and Baraka's great to work with. We spent a lot of time on his album, and he was one of my first clients when I moved into the producing, more seriously into producing over the last couple of years. Yeah,
he was like one of your pet projects.
Well, we're just both so committed to it. We started out with Island Queen, that first song he put out, and with the whole voicemail EP that followed this year, it's been a lot. And a commission for the CBC. We did a song called Through and Through that's on YouTube for CBC East Coast Music Hour. So really 8 songs for Baraka there over the last year and a half, and it's been getting good reception. He's been getting some Spotify support, some radio support, local media. Looking to catch up with them. So yeah, it's been really good with Baraka. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Now I really want to go back to your early days in music because.
All right.
Of course, your management is really your first focus in engineering and producing. Yeah. But you've played in bands before, so what got you into music in the first place?
Yeah, so I mean, I picked up guitar in junior high school through the music program. Just fell in love with it. Andrew Cooper was my junior high music teacher. He plays trumpet in Billy and the Bruisers.
No way.
Yeah, so he was one of the guys that kind of gave me a spark for music. Thanks if you're watching, Cooper. So I started in junior high, and then through high school, playing a jazz band at PwC with Terry Howlett, another guy who's very inspirational, very passionate about music. And as I went to university, my friend John Pike moved into town, and we were living together, and we started this band called Disco's Down. And we did that for a little while. We put out an EP, and that was in 2012. And then there was a band looking for a singer and a guitar player, and John and I joined RocketRocketShip, and they were well established at that point. So, John went on to other things shortly, and I stuck around, and here we are today.
So tell me a little bit more about how that RocketRocketShip gig really came to be.
It was just a pure coincidence that the band at the time was looking for a little bit more of a pop focus, and truth be told, they wanted John to be the singer, and it just so happened that the guitar player was leaving and moving to Ontario at the same time. So they needed a guitar player and a singer, and me and John were a little bit of a pair at that time. And I think Dave kind of orchestrated it all, and he knew that if I joined as well, it'd be a lot easier for John to leave his current band, right? So,
yeah, pretty much.
So that's kind of how that all went down. I don't mind sharing that stuff. And about a year later, Tyrone joined as the vocalist, and then the rest is history, hey?
Yeah, and you guys had a great run. Of course, you released only the one album, which was Shake It Off. You recorded it with Chris Kirby.
Yeah.
So what do you remember most about recording Shake It Off?
Yeah, so we recorded it at Stagehouse, which was a studio in Portugal Cove, St. Philip's, where Great Big Sea had recorded, and I know Hey Rosetta did some recordings there. At that time, it was a dream to work with Chris because he was a well-known musician. We were just kind of getting going, and we knew that we had the youthful energy. We knew that we had the show. We knew that we had some of the songs, and we just need somebody a little bit more experienced in the studio side of things, a little bit more experienced in like production and musicality, and he really helped us tighten up. So we went in the studio. We did a song called Here's to Us first, which was just the leading single off of the project. And then we released the whole album, I guess you'd say, 7-track album, in 2014. We toured the heck out of it. We played in like 75 high schools in 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. We played like 250 shows supporting that album. It was a lot of shows. Yeah, I still have the spreadsheet somewhere. And there was times, we were on tour and we'd play at two high schools in a day, right? And in Ontario, a high school might have 900,000 people, right? So, we played to like 45,000 people in 75 shows. So
my word.
It was really what helped us tighten up because, we played every day. Played as a group. We slept together, ate together. We in the bus all the time. It's just like you live and breathe the music for that time. You just soak it up. So after we got back from that tour in 2014, our drummer Jeremy at the time, he decided to kind of move on to other life things, as kind of happens, right? And Tyrone was singing, so Paul was on the drums at that point. We went ahead as a 5-piece then for the rest of it up to about 2017, and it was awesome. We got to go to the ECMAs a bunch of times. We got to, open for some big bands. If you want to talk about maybe recording a little bit more, it was great working with like Spencer Crewe, engineered it. He actually engineered Jing's most recent album, The Numinous Journey, which won an ECMA. And me and Spencer still stay in contact, 11 years after or 10 years after, however long. So, there's like lifelong relationships that we made. And Scott Hammond mixed it. He did a beautiful job. And Jay LaPointe did some mastering. And when Baraka released Through and Through, it was the same guy mastering that song. So it's kind of like everything comes full circle, hey?
That's insane.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Spencer Crewe, I think, has some of the most ridiculous birthday wishes ever. It's like something from the womb day. And it's like, okay, it is a little too much, Spencer.
I'm glad you brought that up.
But that shows like you don't care like who he like offends or something.
He knows when to be funny. He's really good, and that's good.
They're funny though.
It's good in the studio because like it could get tense. Hey, like you're stressed out, you're not getting the part maybe, or like somebody's getting on your nerves, or like you're just tired from work and you got to be at work again the next day. And it's fun to have an engineer who can lighten the mood and like just say like, guys, like we're just here to have fun, and like if we're not enjoying it, why are we doing this, right?
Exactly.
So it's great to have a guy like Spencer around in the studio. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
And of course, you've opened up for bands like one of the most interesting ones that I found out was Favorite Drive.
Yeah,
When I'm with you, Tongue Tied.
Favorite Drive.
The song I know the most from them, and I really grew up with, was Get Up and Dance from 2009.
Yeah.
Who are some of the other bands that you've opened up for?
Mariana's Trench would be another one. We played at Mile 1, opening for Mariana's Trench 2015. With RocketRocketShip, there was a good member. Like it was a fair amount of people came through touring. Then there was some promoters who would bring people through all of Newfoundland and play a little bit more in the rural parts. So we opened for like Tyler Shaw. We were the first band to ever play with Tyler Shaw on stage, and now like he's singing with the tenors, right? And It's just
No way.
It's crazy, right?
That's nuts.
And who else? Sean Desmond, Carl Wolf. Do you remember that guy? Covered Africa?
Carl Wolf, Cover of Africa.
Yeah.
And Yahala Habibi.
Yeah.
And then he did turn up with Cardinal Official.
Sure. Yeah. Just people who are very well established in the Canadian pop scene at the time, right?
Yeah.
So,
The only name I really know now that's like big is Neon Dreams. That's the only real name I know.
right. Yeah. I don't know if we ever got to play with Neon Dreams, but we were at the ECMAs one year, and like 3 or 4 people tweeted like, "RocketRocketShip and Neon Dreams need to play a show together," and it just never happened because we broke up. Like, so like I respect them a lot. They're brilliant musicians, and I'm so glad to see that they've had so much success.
For sure.
Continuing on into Africa, and they've really done some good work there.
That's crazy to see how far they've come over the past couple of years too.
Absolutely.
But you broke up like when it comes to like main playing, but you really haven't broke up when it comes to like your friendship, because you guys are still friends outside of the band, because you've all have worked together in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that kept us together, is that we were all such good friends, and it was the music that wasn't working. So when we decided to kind of end RocketRocketShip, Dave and I had another band called Lookalike that we pursued for a little while, and we went to LA and we recorded, and we were all still good friends through that period. I remember we went to Marystown to play, and Tyrone just hopped in the van just to come out for the night, and like hang out, because we had an extra hotel room or something. And Paul was playing drums. He was in the band at that time too. So Paul, never really stopped making music with Paul. It's just good to have good people who share your passions, and we're fortunate, honestly, that we were still able to, hang out and not kind of piss each other off too much.
Yeah, because like when bands usually break up, they do not speak to each other again. But the fact that you guys have remained friends since the breakup of RocketRocketShip is great to see.
Oh man, it could be like a divorce. It could be bad. So,
and you have a bad marriage.
There you go. Yeah. So, yeah, it was just one of those things that the music wasn't working, but we were such good friends. So, through this time, after Lookalike, I went back to MUN. I did a business degree. Dave did the same thing, and of course, Dave then got a job at musicnl, and once I was settled in a little bit more with my wife, and we got a dog and a house, and kind of like, okay, I got a bit of time now to record some people. And Tyrone is itching at the Texas Red project for years. He's been writing those songs, and I'm so glad to see him play a half an hour ago on the Stingray stage there. It was great, to see him out in the world and to see songs finally come out that I think we jammed that song Heartbreaker in 2018.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, that's been around for a significant amount of time, and we tried to record it a couple times, and eventually what happened was I'd gotten some projects together like Baraka's, and I had some space, a studio. I had some things that were kind of coming around, and I said, Tyrone, let's put in a grant for musicnl, and we can just do a few songs and see how that goes. So that's how the Texas Red thing kind of came together, and with Hurricane Music, that the Hurricane Music technically started in 2016 when
tell me a little bit more about that.
broke up. Yeah, so what happened was, just naturally I had a few people who wanted to record or wanted to do a showcase, and I just saw some gaps in the market. There wasn't an all ages venue at the musicnl event that year. There wasn't anywhere for anybody underage to play, so we went out and we just made it happen. And I was like, okay, I need a name, I need something, so we're gonna call it Hurricane Music. And when I went back to school and stuff, I wasn't doing that music stuff. But then when Dave wasn't at musicnl anymore, we said, okay, there's a bit of space for us to work together, and we can revive this thing under a new type of vibe where we're Dave knew he wanted to manage some people when he left musicnl, and it was the right kind of thing, because the production work, it's a bit of a pipeline, right? Some people, like Tyrone, for example, he produces an album, he gets it out, he needs help with releasing it, and then we can step in and kind of help him through that part of the release, right?
And that's where David comes in.
Yeah, Dave does that. I do some of the press releases. It kind of depends artist to artist, what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's really we've got this whole kind of pipeline figured out where, we can help people apply for grants, and they can use the grant to, access studio time, whether it be through me or Pete McDonald, the lead singer of With Violet, has a beautiful studio space where we recorded With Violet's last couple of EPs. They just put out the 3-song EPs.
Yeah, Saturday Nights In and Your Sunday Best.
Yeah, which works out into one kind of clever sentence, right? Saturday nights in, your Sunday's best, which is kind of funny. So we recorded that at Pete's, and I've done a bit of production work there for like Mackenzie Critch and Nerve Shack, as we've worked on their projects the last year for singles. So again, the Hurricane Music thing, it's not only just me and Dave. We do have other people kind of plugging in, whether it be a little bit of studio time with Pete, or if you need Paul to play bass in your band, like he's been filling in for Nerve Shack on bass every now and again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a busy man. At our showcase Saturday night, I think Paul's playing drums in Texas Red. He's playing drums with Baraka. He's playing bass in Nerve Shack, and then he's closing out the night with Precious Blood as his own front thing. So
yeah,
he's a busy guy, and having people like him makes it tick, right? Because we'd have to find a different drummer for Tyrone. We'd have to find a different drummer for Baraka, And
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it'd just be that much more stressful. So when you have your crew, you have your people who are so talented, and we work together really easily.
Oh, yeah.
We get together to jam. It's just fun. It comes naturally. We've played those 300 shows together, right? So it's easy to get things on the go together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you play with Baraka throughout Newfoundland throughout the past couple of months or so.
Yeah.
And you played a tour with Rachel Hickey.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah.
And really, it shows, you guys are really making something special here. And I think not only 2023 was a really good year to, establish this new managing and, production firm.
Yeah.
But really, 2024 to really take it to the next level.
Yeah, so, there's going to be new releases from Nerve Shack, for example. We were just in the studio at Pete's studio, working with a producer named Brian Moncars. Hi, Brian, if you're watching. You're a busy man, so you might not be watching. But Brian has worked with Alice Cooper. So now we're at that level where we can negotiate bigger things for our artists and start to pull at those connections. So I only know that when those things get out into the world, that will make that energy flow, that momentum flow well into next year.
Yeah.
Well, and I have lots of recording projects booked. Again, I mentioned Baraka. I don't mind mentioning that I'm making an album for Jarrito Onelvis Fernandez. He's a Latin musician.
Okay.
He's from Cuba, and I met him through the Global Music Series through musicnl. So we're working on a full album for him right now. We have.
I believe you're working on something with Kathy Stock.
Yeah, Kathy. Yeah, so we have 4 songs that we're working on with Kathy Stock for production. Kind of a little bit of a Celtic, kind of a little bit of a pop singer-songwriter vibe, which is really cool because it's piano focused. So
yeah,
you think Celtic, a lot of times you think strings,
violin, fiddles, accordions, stuff like that.
And she's just a brilliant piano player and writes her songs around piano. So it's really refreshing as a producer to have those tones and to make traditional music. We've been working with Jaw 3 on some recordings for a little bit over the summer and the fall, and that's going well. So you might see some of those coming out soon. I feel like I'm missing so many people.
Rosemary Lawton.
Well, Rosemary, yeah, we don't really have a plan for Rosemary yet. I don't know if her album is. It's very, very early stages at this point.
Yeah.
We haven't entered the studio or done anything there, and With Violet is going to be working on new music as well. And there's other people even internationally. I have a client in Brunei that we're making a single right now.
Wow.
He's literally on the other side of the world. It's an 11.5-hour time difference.
Oh, Jesus.
It's kind of hard to work actually when you're half a world away.
Right.
So yeah, that song is halfway done. I have an artist in the UK that reached out to me over the last couple months. So by the time late November, we'll definitely be well into working on production tracks. Recording. We're already sending ideas back and forth. It's a bit of an adventure, Zach. It kind of pulled all over different places, and I mean, I'm Nerve Shack's manager as well, so I give them a fair bit of my time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's why when you sent me those early songs for Nerve Shack, I knew it was okay, mattdines has a lot of stock into these guys, so you must be managing them.
Yeah, so helped them with their grant writing, helped them with some early recordings, and that's why I helped bring on Brian as a top shelf producer, great mix engineer. And they're just exciting young band, they're 19, 20, 21. So like the very, very young.
Yeah, like very
right?
young,
Yeah.
kind of like Blink-182-esque, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of verging in the '90s grunge a little bit.
Yeah.
They really like Foo Fighters. Like that would be a band they
Foo
really.
Fighters is a good comparison.
Yeah.
Part of me wanted to say Nirvana, but
Sometimes,
Yeah.
maybe the hard rock stuff doesn't really. And that's where it's interesting, maybe for the listener.
Yeah.
You can check out Nerve Shack on Spotify or YouTube. Did you happen to see the video that they self-animated?
I have not yet. I will get to that.
That's okay. I mean, I just want to talk about it a little bit. Ryan
for it.
actually, he actually animated like something like thousands of slides. It's like he drew them in like Microsoft Paint or something.
No,
and again,
what?
yeah, if you'll see it, you'll understand that
God.
it's kind of South Park-esque. I mean, it's definitely lower production quality than South Park. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, like lo-fi, low res.
It's like you tried to copy South Park in Microsoft Paint. But anyway, the storyline is really interesting. Yeah, and it's like Ryan becomes like a ninja, and he has like a sensei to help train him, and then there's a big battle scene. I don't want to spoil the ending.
No,
but
I'm not going to spoil
yeah,
it for any
it's
of the
very
listeners of the podcast
it's explosive
either.
at the ending.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's reflect back on the year you guys have had.
Sure, yeah.
Out of all the albums that you've produced or singles you've produced, which one has been your favorite and why? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Oh, heck. I really like Through and Through by Baraka, just because we made that 2 weeks after we got the masters for Voicemail. So Voicemail was finished in early January, and CBC had called us like very short notice, say, hey, Baraka, we want you to write a song on a commission for the story in the song series. And Baraka said, okay, can I have Matt record it? And they're like, of course, whoever you want to record it. So I took that as a challenge, and I put a lot of work into it and produced out a fair bit of arrangements of beats and played guitar. And what I liked so much about working was that we had just finished the album and we got to start fresh on a new song. And we had kind of worked through all the bugs of like how we know how each other works now at this point. So, I think maybe 16 hours, 20 hours of work versus like the album took 18 months. So like,
Wow.
we pushed something out on like a deadline to high quality. The other reason I really enjoyed it, we got to work with Jingja on Guzheng, and Christina Hernandez sang vocals as well. And the East Coast Music Hour gave us the freedom to choose whoever we wanted. So when we sent them an early version, we hopped on Zoom with the producers of the show, and they said, I think you need to bump up this part of the song, this hook part, right? And I said, okay, well, what if we had a Guzheng play that part?
Oh, wow.
And then they're like, okay, cool. And then I'm like, what about if we had a female vocalist double that? Because Baraka does the line. So we'll have a Guzheng double it, and we'll have a female vocalist double it. And they said, I think that'll work. So
yeah, and diversity is there.
It's incredible. Like to think about it, as a guy who's living in Mount Pearl, you have Baraka, who's from Tanzania. He's lived here for 8 years, but he's from Tanzania. And Jingja is from China and came here for Mun. And Christina Hernandez came here for Mun as well. So just want to say that while we're in Mun right now, shout out to Mun for bringing some of the best musicians that are in the world to Newfoundland.
Oh, yes, absolutely. How does it feel to be here for Music Celebration Week 2023 amongst your peers, knowing the year you guys have had?
I'm just really thankful, Zach. Like, I'm just taking it in. Trying to stay humble and trying to, just stay positive.
Come on,
very
your own
grateful.
horn a little bit.
It feels good. Like, there's so much left to do. Like, if I wasn't here this weekend, I'd be mixing an album. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know what's in my head that still needs to be done, so I can't really rest.
Oh, for sure.
But like, for example, the first award was announced, and it was Jingja, Earl Jia 3, right? Jing and Brian and Richie.
Yeah.
And to see that, it's like, okay, we're 1 for 1, quote unquote. Hey, it's like, that's pretty cool, and that good sign maybe for what's kind of happened the rest of the weekend. But yeah, and honestly, like, we don't do it for the accolades, but I'd certainly do it to see the artists feel happy about their music and feel that they're accomplishing things, and that's what makes me proud. Like I said, to see Tyrone playing. Like, it's just been too long since he's done that. So
Yeah,
like, it just
he's
makes
an
me
old
feel
friend.
good. It makes him feel good. And the same thing for Baraka. Like, he's been through a lot, like, with different, like, learning things and, different management things that kind of went on. And he's had to kind of like overcome a lot of things. And to see him with the EP out and with people loving it, with like, waking up and seeing it on Spotify, like on like new release Friday in Nigeria, like,
which is nuts.
like it's like out of a dream. I haven't processed that yet. Like, it still doesn't make any sense. So,
which is crazy.
It's crazy. It's like you don't think that can happen, but apparently it does. So
listen,
it's a good sign.
If you have a dream and if you're willing to put the work in, you can achieve anything you set your mind to.
Yeah.
And the rewards will be plentiful.
There you go. Absolutely. Yep. Living proof. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Now, of course, when it comes to the year ahead for Hurricane Music,
yep.
What else do you have cooking in the Hurricane Music cauldron?
Well, again, like progressing the careers of our artists. So that's our management clients with Violet, Rosemary Lawton, Xingxia, and Nerve Shack.
And Baraka.
And Baraka, of course. Again, can't forget Baraka. So like for Baraka, it's going to be more music. It's going to be singles. It's going to be, experimenting with new sounds. Definitely a lot more live performance. We're playing with a band now, hey? So like Baraka and The Wave. Myself on guitar, Hunter Madden on bass, Paul Brake on drums, couple backup vocalists. I won't spoil any surprises for the awards show.
Well, by the time that this does air, you'll probably know them by now.
Absolutely. So there'll be a couple backup vocalists as well. And, for With Violet, they're doing really good. They're playing a lot.
They're amazing.
They did Iceberg Alley last year, so I hope they get a few more festivals. And, it's great to work with. Good friends, good music. So I know they have plans for more music as well. For Jing, I think Ja 3 is a bit of her project, her feature for the next year. So, there's going to be an album, a Ja 3 album that will be out, I'd say early next year, if not sooner. And for Nerve Shack, so we just worked with Brian Moncars. We're going to try to hopefully get some support from grants or maybe labels to help that song come out. I'm going to keep producing. I don't think Dave is going to manage anybody else. I really don't plan to manage anybody else right now, but the producing is going to be the thing, and getting away from the day job. Sorry again if my manager is watching this, but moving away from the day job, just doing music full time. Again, not something I thought I'd be close to, but something that is it's a certainty at this point. So I'm very happy about that.
You're getting there.
I'm getting there, and just by the grace of my artists. And, also, we got to be honest. Like, if musicnl didn't have grants to get out, producers like me wouldn't have work. Straight up, nobody would be able to afford to make an album. And if they did, they would go to Halifax or Toronto.
Pretty much.
So with the programs we have from musicnl and artsnl, you can access funding, and you're encouraged to spend it in Newfoundland because you can claim a higher percentage. If you go away, you won't be able to claim as much towards your expenses. So there's deterrence in some ways to keep the work in Newfoundland, which it's good because, I put almost every cent of what I do back into my work, whether it's by investing it into artists or by investing it into equipment so I can make better music. So that's another thing that's been really great is that my studio's grown in size. I've gone...
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, I've gone from just being, computer focused with a small interface. Now I have, analog consoles and compressors and lots of microphones to choose from. So, and then Pete's studio is incredible too. So to access his equipment and for us to put it together, it makes it possible for somebody like Brian to come down from Toronto, and instead of him, pulling us up to Noble Street Studios where the Bare Naked Ladies record and he has a mix room, because we could have done that, or we stay in Newfoundland, we hire Pete's studio, we don't have to spend as much money flying, we don't have the carbon footprint of flying 4 dudes to Toronto. Yeah. So, I just think it's great that we can keep a lot of the industry supported in Newfoundland by grants and, keeping the local music productions going. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you're making some really quality content here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Yeah. And for people who want to keep up with you, David, and the rest of Hurricane Music, where can they go? Yeah, so if you're interested in finding out more about Hurricane Music, you can go to www.hurricanemusic.ca. As you can see on the bottom of the screen. And because I'm doing this, Zach has to overlay it now. I do. I'll do that.
Thank you, Zach. And Instagram, Facebook, usual channels. You can reach out to us by email via our website if you want to book an artist consultation, or if you want to hire us to produce an album, or if you need help with press releases or those types of things. Just reach out and we can talk about it. And hopefully I have a bit more time next year if I'm not at the day job. There we go. That'd be great.
Absolutely, because I believe you and Dave both work at Choices for Youth.
Yeah, actually, I work at Choices for Youth and Marketing with our social enterprises, which is very fun. I get to sell pizza and things like that. It's fun.
Nice.
But yeah, Dave's moving on over to Picture NL, which used to be the Film Development Corporation.
No way.
Yeah, so
recent
that's,
news, huh?
It's recent breaking news, which won't be that breaking in November. It'll be well public news. Yeah, so maybe film's next for us. I don't know. We'll have to make some movies. Music videos is a good transition. That's
Absolutely.
a good first one.
Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure to chat with you and get to know more about you and this venture of Hurricane Music. And I said before, 2023 was the year of the hurricane, and I'm certain 2024 is going to be even bigger too.
There we go.
I mean, hopefully we don't get hit by another big hurricane, but in the sense of Hurricane Music, hopefully it's a banner year for you in 2024. Matt Dines, thank you for joining me on Musical Connections on Next to Connect. All the best to you, and congratulations on all your success. And I believe 27 nominations from Hurricane Music this year.
Yeah, that was. Yep.
Insane. Congratulations, Matt.
Thanks,
Zach. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me.